Just a reminder, we are in Fire, the Energy of Impact. And our next session is called Turn Up the Heat. Julie Watson is CEO and a second generation leadership of Ultimate Tech. She's the winner of the 2026 AQ2 National Bank CEO of the Year Award. With more than 20 years of experience in the print and technology industries, she serves on the advisory boards for CIP4 and Girls Who Print Canada. She is also the Canadian lead for Women in Tech Global and has helped drive worldwide automation innovation for print and packaging providers worldwide. Welcome, Julie Watson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Okay, I'm going to pop off and leave you to it.
All right. Well, first of all, I loved the previous sessions. I just have to say that I loved Wendy's session about finding your passion. And I have to say that there's a good book, also very popular book that I would recommend for that is also Finding Your Why. So if, for those readers out there, that's definitely something that could be interesting. I loved, of course, how Maggie also ended her session about course and learning. I'll touch a little bit about that. So I thought it was a nice link there. And Cassandra's energy. I mean, I love the energy in her session. And definitely this example that you talked about, strippers, not disappearing, but that job function changing because of computers. Because ironically, at Ultimate Tech, we were the first digital imposition on the market, which kind of helped transition the strippers onto computers and then the transition to CTP. And now we're working a lot with digital printing and the need for automation and automating finishing as well. But I'm here today mainly to talk about turning up the heat, leading change through curiosity and continuous learning. This is definitely a topic that's important for me, and in all of the discussions that I had, even with the podcast that we had with Deborah earlier this year, when I realized or look at how to maintain a cadence in your career, in your projection towards where you want to go, obviously turning up the heat is super important. And we'll talk about that today. It's really important in terms of setting your growth mindset. Also, the industry is going through a lot of transformation. So it's how do we participate and stay proactive in that? And it's also about being intentional about, our careers and the impact that we want to have around us. So a little bit about my journey, just so you get to know a little bit about who I am. So I'm second generation leadership. I took over the company in 2017, and since then the company has grown, significantly. And we sell primarily software solutions for imposition and finishing automation. And we have customers in 50 plus countries. And so as I've navigated, first of all, taking over the company, but also the growth across different regions of the world, I've definitely realized and learned a lot of things, and hopefully I can share a little bit of this here today. But more importantly, it's not just about success. It's about getting up when you fail also. It's that ability to constantly step up or start over or try again is as important as the initial intent to try something new. And so this is a little bit what I want to talk about today. I also have the chance to work with a lot of different women in tech and in print, and I've done quite a bit of mentorship. And so I really think that it's important to understand also that basically the only time that you don't succeed at something is when you stop trying. It's not because, we don't succeed the first time, or it's not because we're not respected the first time we speak or the first time we tell our opinion, that we should stop trying to give our opinion. So putting a little bit of a bridge on what was said in previous sessions is, yes, it's good to speak up, but you cannot always control how people will receive your message. And therefore, it's not because it's not heard the first time that, we should say, okay, let's stop and move on. In the contrary, uh, being able to come back if you have an opinion, maybe reframing the way it's presented, reframing the context, and trying to come across with your message again. So turning up the heat for me also means energy. And we all know that we're limited in the amount of energy that we have. So it's really important to take care of yourself first, to find the balance, to find the ability to refocus continuously, and take care of yourself so that you have the energy to continue persisting, continue, um, overcoming some barriers and some challenges in your path throughout your career. And a lot of times in my interviews and podcasts, I talk a lot about the tech stack in the printing industry and how I'm totally fascinated by tech in general and by the printing industry and seeing all of these different fields coming into play together in the printing industry, I think is absolutely fascinating. But today, I decided to create a bridge between the concept of a tech stack and talk about the heat stack. So turning up the heat, what does it mean for professional growth? If we consider a few five key elements: curiosity, learning, courage, visibility, and community. So each of these elements represent a habit or a mindset that you could bring to create momentum into your career. Curiosity drives exploration and innovation. Continuous learning ensures adaptability and relevance. Courage enables you to take risks, embrace challenges, and visibility allows you to share ideas and achievements. Finally, community, such as Girls Who Print, provides support, mentorship, opportunity for collaboration. But most importantly, none of these single elements is sufficient on its own. Rather, it's the combination of these factors that provide meaningful progress. So when I bridge that to my tech stacks, it's the same thing. You have your press, you have your finishing, you have the MIS, you have the workflow, and it's really the combination of bringing all these things together that really create print productivity. So this is a really nice little example. And at the end of the day, it's really important to look at your own text, your own heat stack, meaning that my career, your career, everybody's career is different. We all have a different set of skills. So, for example, someone who is curious and knowledgeable may need to focus on how to increase their visibility and make sure that people see them well, whereas as others may be to create a stronger network and opportunities. So the role of organizations like Girls Who Print are really essential, in my opinion, in putting this together. So now let's go for a little bit of a vote. I'm curious to see on this call who's curious, right? So put a one if you're very curious in nature, you're always asking questions, you're always wanting to learn something. Two, if it's not so much, a little bit, a couple times a day. And then three, when we're saying, not really, I just go with the flow. Where would you sit on this? Oh, I see a lot of ones, so I love this group. We're definitely a lot of like-minded women here on this group, which is great. So obviously, curiosity drives innovation. Curiosity helps us really question the existing methods, question what's in place, and think about how we can improve. And this concept will definitely drive innovation, drive learning, drive many, many things. Curiosity also includes understanding customer needs, market trends, team dynamics, and especially uncovering hidden opportunities. because sometimes it doesn't always meet the eye, right? And by asking questions, by learning things, we uncover aspects that we don't necessarily consider. And also it allows for an openness to learn. And that's also very, very essential. So, which brings me to the next point, which is how continuous learning is key. The more you learn, obviously the expression is the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything. But more importantly, it's how we evolve across the years. Of course, you can, uh, start in school and you learn you acquire a certain set of knowledge, then you apply it, you learn something more. But as you go, in order to stay also relevant and to adapt to the changing needs around us, learning is the best way. And there are different methods of learning. And more importantly, you have to find what is the best way for you, because of course we're all different and it's trying different methods. And it can either be formal training. For example, if you feel you need a certificate that could help, better your resume, for example, then that's probably a better way. However, you can learn a lot through mentorship, through discussions with people at a trade show, for example, to reading, to spending a little bit of time attending a webinar, for example. It could be many, many, many different little tasks. So often, we find ourselves limited with time. And it's easy to say, oh, I don't have time for this, or I won't. It's true. Time can be a challenge, but that little 15 minutes a day that you can uh, uh, you know, learn something, spend on learning something will go a long ways in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years. So being able to have a habit of continuously learning is something that will keep that heat and that fire going throughout your entire career. Importantly, also, I would say to challenge yourself. So I didn't necessarily respond to the question earlier about, oh, do you challenge yourself? Do you I'd say most of the time I challenge myself, but I'm not necessarily the one who will necessarily put herself out there. And last year, I did something completely, but completely out of my comfort zone. And I applied for this CEO of the Year um, contest, award, should we speak. And in order to do this, you had to first present yourself as a candidate, be selected as a finalist, and then you had to go on stage. I had to go on stage in front of 150 other tech CEOs and sell them why they should pick me out of all the finalists. And that was the most nerve-wracking and uncomfortable situation because, as you know, if you're anything like me, you do not like to go on a stage to talk about yourself. It's not necessarily something that's natural as women, but I did it and I won the award. So I'm telling you this story to inspire you. Even if it's the most uncomfortable thing, go out there and do it because the only way you'll know if you can win something is if you participate. If you do not participate, you'll never win. So remember my story. Next time you have an opportunity to register in something or to step outside of your comfort zone, just do it. So, innovation and impact. Of course, I talk a lot about technology. I talk a lot about innovation all the time. As a software company in the print industry, we're really at the forefront of this. However, what I want to talk about today is really innovation and people, because at the end of the day, we are the ones using the technology. Automation ultimately frees people from repetitive tasks. So imagine if you could already start automating your own repetitive tasks with the existing tools or AI or whatever that you can have access to. Then you can spend more time on creative and strategic work. And that will also give you a push in your career. And it's important to view technology as an enabler, not necessarily to fear it. I sometimes, if we're not from a technology background, we might be uncertain because it feels like something new, something we don't know, and that is okay. However, if we bring a little bit of curiosity and we just look under the hood, we might realize that it's not that complicated. So being open to it and viewing it as an enabler and just being a master of a tool is almost as important or more important than knowing how it's built or all the technical implications. So that's also an important point. And innovation and collaboration is really when technology and human talent meet. So being able to be open to technology in general is really important. Also, the art industry is going through a lot of changes. And of course, technology plays a big role in it. And of course, I have to say AI because it's everywhere and it's gonna be everywhere. It's not meant to be just a keyword or something like this. Learning how to use these tools and how they can benefit you and your company will give you an edge because in the future, technology is inevitable. And excuse my accent here. And if you can demonstrate, because everybody's looking at AI like, what are we going to do with this? If you come with the solutions, what automation means for the company, how to implement it, you will become so important for this print company that it's definitely a great opportunity right now for those that want to consider these types of opportunities. And lastly, I'd say community is really important. Community, why? It's part of the continuous learning. What we're learning from each other today, what we're learning from talking to others, the support we can get from the community, being able to share experiences and learn from experiences. It's not just technical knowledge. It's not just, um, you know, um, factual knowledge, it's also experience sharing. And the experience sharing, you get it from a community. So being engaged in Girls Who Print in any of these communities is really important for what you can give and also from what you can get. So active engagement for growth is key. So in summary, I can say that empowerment through action, the summary of the heat stack is curiosity, continuous learning, courage, and community are essential elements. Uh, Consistency and long-term growth. Again, back to what I was saying at the beginning, it's not because it doesn't work the first time that you should quit. Always remember, if it's really what you're passionate about and you really want to have an impact, this impact does not happen instantaneously. It happens over time. It happens over repetitive, continuous actions. And at the end of the day, turning up the heat is also keeping the spark alive. Because at the end of the day, keeping that spark alive is what's going to help you keep going and will make you persistent. And at the end of the day, persistence is the driver to success.